I am loving the gwolves HTX. It's one of the best mice I've used yet. First things first is the shape of the HTX, and you can probably tell it's quite flat and has a very low profile, as you can tell by the button height and just overall the hump height. So it's in general it's quite a low mouse, something like a starlight shape. This one's a PMM starlight small. And first thing I can say off the bat is that it's quite a bit longer and wider. And for my hand, 18 by 9 hands, and my claw grip, it's a lot more accommodating and feels way better than the Starlight. I could say that it's definitely a huge upgrade from the Starlight shape in my opinion. It's the wider back especially gives more contact with the palm. I feel like that definitely gives more stability and just feels like a glove in my hand when I'm aiming. It just feels super natural. So if you are coming from like a Starlight or a Razor Viper, I think you should be quite at home with this mouse. But if you are coming from a super light, something with like a high hump, quite fat just in general, you might have to take some time to get used to it. Um, but honestly, it feels really good. It feels really good for the shape. Like I did not expect to like it this much, and I just have to give props to gwolves for making such a nice feeling shape and mouse. It's really great what they've done here. I'd say definitely good for a fingertip grip. As you can tell, it's definitely very flat, so it's good for a relaxed fingertip and even a claw, like with my hands especially. So medium sized, small hands should do perfectly with this mouse. Larger hands, you can definitely fingertip with it with a large hand. Palming, if you have very small hands, you can probably palm it, but this is obviously not a palm grip type of mouse. But that's about it. Yeah, the shape's pretty good. Now, one issue I do have with this mouse being so low that the side buttons are also quite low down on the mouse. So depending on how big your thumb is and your grip style, you might actually like overlap with it. That could be a benefit or a negative for you. It really depends. For me personally, it doesn't really affect me too much. I don't really click it at all. That's fine. In terms of performance, sense performance, 3395, it's great. No issues at all. No spinouts, jitters, tracking and flicking has been just completely flawless with it on 1000 Hz. Just completely perfect. But one key difference with this mouse in terms of the features and specs is the insane weight. So this is coming at 36 grams. This is the Ace Hold edition. So you can definitely choose whatever you want. You can choose one with holes or without holes. And the great thing about it is that if you do get ones with holes, there are none on the sides. So you can just put your fingers there and they won't get interrupted by any, cheese grating holes, right? So I think that's a plus for some of you guys. And another thing is that legit, it feels like it's completely empty. Like it feels empty because of how light it is. I think it's 36, 37 grams, right? I think it goes up to like 43 if you go with the 4K edition without holes. And even then, 43 grams is insanely light for a full-size mouse, so really props to gwolves for this. And the weight balancing is actually not too bad. If you see here, right, the battery's all the way at the back here and the PCB is right at the front. It's not perfect, but it does like kind of weigh a bit to the front, but it's not too bad. It's incredibly light that I just barely even notice it. I don't think you should really either, so I said that's an A to them. So yeah, the weight is amazing. Like in game, it feels effortless to aim, and I think it's just fantastic how it feels. Like I've been really enjoying this mouse because of it. And if you've coming from like again a super light, you'll definitely feel the difference. Like the super light feels like a damn brick now. That's an exaggeration, but that's just what I'm trying to say. It genuinely feels like nothing's in there. GBX feels like has some chunk in it. It's a bit fat. It needs to hit the gym a bit. Okay, now with clicks, it's using the classic gwolves zippy switches ever since they released the HTX Plus. And if you've never tried them or don't know what they are, in my experience, they kind of are like a heavy on-run switch. That's not like the best way to describe them, but that's all I can say, really. The best way I can describe them, really. So they're not like sharp like a Kale switch. I have some Kale 4.0s on here. So they do have that little mushy feeling. Not very mushy, but definitely a heavy click. So it's still very spammable. Maybe not as much as a on-run. On the super light, very well implemented. Very light. So you might have to get used to it because of how heavy it is compared to maybe the lighter switches if you're used to them. But honestly, the switches are fine. No double clicking whatsoever. Side buttons are perfect. I think they're using the same. Either Huano switches or Zippy switches, I'm not completely sure. But they feel perfectly fine. They're a little bit heavy like the main clicks, but it's fine. Also the scroller click, it's not the lightest thing in the world. I'd say the super light still has a lighter click on it. Not as heavy as the HTX Plus. This one had a very heavy click for whatever reason. But yeah, it's all usable. No double clicks whatsoever. I'll give it a little quick sound test. So I'll do the main switches first. Okay, for the build quality, it's been, well, perfect. So ever since they released the HTX Plus, they've like really improved their QC on their mice. Like when I got this mouse, I tried rattling, getting some rattle out of it. Nope. Shake it. Nope. No rattle. Squeeze it really hard. Nothing. No creaking. Everything's absolutely perfect. None of the clicks wobble. I mean, there's a little bit of side play, just a little bit, but you should not notice it whatsoever in game. Like I can barely get it to move. So yeah, it's been absolutely perfect. So well done, gwolves, for bringing out a mouse that is perfect in QC. Definitely plus 10 points to you guys right there. Another great thing about the build they changed from the HTX Plus is the power switch. Because with the HTX Plus, you needed a little stick they provided to turn it on and off, and a lot of people complain about that. And that was to reduce the weight of the HTX Plus, so they didn't have like a 1 gram like little switch to like get you to turn it on and off. But on this, they've done the same thing, but on the side of the mouse, where there's a lot more room, so you can just legit turn it on and off with your finger. They do still provide a stick, but you don't need to use it. So, but if you do need one, there it is, right there for you to use. Okay. Oh, another thing to mention is that they finally switched over to USB-C. Everyone can rejoice. Everyone can be happy about it. Honestly, it's great that they've done it finally, because everyone complained again, micro USB. There's a lot of things about the HTX Plus that could have made it like the absolute just best mouse if they just didn't have micro USB and stuff, and this like little switch. Honestly, I had no problem with it. Those are just pet peeves for people, but I mean, I think in general it would have made this mouse just absolute amazing. But I still love this mouse, but I just love this mouse even more. For battery life, they do provide a 300 milliamp hour battery, which is a bit larger than the one in here. And with the one that comes with the mouse, it should last about a week. Don't quote me on that. I haven't had it long enough, but from the amount I've used it, it's barely drained at all, so I think it should last about a week. But you can get the bigger battery that's provided with a battery tester as well. If you do buy like a third-party one online, you can also put your own battery inside it, and that's fine. So yeah, I think this mouse is just incredible. Like, really is just great. And I think this is a fantastic mouse overall, so I'll give it an A+, honestly. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked the video, and that's all.